Oh, wait, let me get my definition first. Hi there.
Hello.
We're back. I'm Wilma.
And I'm Rod.
Okay, today's subject is communication. It is such a huge thing that it has
Between
so many
couples.
different definitions. So let me just read you a little bit of one definition of communication. We use communication every day in every environment and in our relationships. Whether you give a slight head nod in agreement or present information to your spouse, communication is absolutely necessary in building relationships. So today, you'll see how communication works.
Let me clarify. Communication could be verbal, yak, yak, yak. Emotional,
There you go. That's one lesson.
facial,
He just interrupted
okay,
me, and
or-
he shouldn't have.
or non-verbal. You didn't say anything at all, but you got the message, right?
But communication is verbal and also the ability to listen, not just kind of like when the other person is talking, your mind is wandering off, but actually it's ability to decipher what the other person is saying.
What did you say?
Decipher.
Oh, okay, all right. Now I get it. I understand very well what you're trying to say. All right. So next.
So, in our marriage, you know, we have had these ups and downs
47 years.
in our communication. There are many times where I'm saying something to Conrad, and his mind is elsewhere, so he really didn't hear me, but then he'll respond. And there are some times where he'll just cut me off completely without finishing a sentence. So that's really
She does the same
not
thing, by the way. All right. So it's two-way street. Okay. Communication is two-way street. Okay. You go one way, I'm going the other way, and hopefully we don't, head-on collision.
Ergo, you are welcome to critique exactly what just happened in relationship to communication. So, kind of stop and listen.
Communication is you gotta make your point very clear, and sometimes even when you say it, it's not even clear to the other person because she may have misinterpreted. Okay, or I'm not really saying what I meant.
I'm not really saying what I meant.
That is the toughest part when it comes to communication. So when you speak, think before you speak because something can go wrong really fast.
Don't point. That's
Okay.
bad communication.
Well, anyway, that is what I'm trying to say. All right. So, communication, means many things. All right. But the central point here is to avoid a head-on collision between you two, because if it's not very clear, boy, it's gonna brew and it's gonna get messy, and then you have to call for understanding and what it calls forgiveness if there is something misunderstood.
Now, we all don't come with these perfect abilities to listen and to communicate. So we bring our own personalities into it. And at times, this is like the greatest barrier in being able to sort through problems in a mutual way and come to an agreement on how to solve those problems. So sometimes, like having a pencil and a paper on a table
Okay.
and being able to talk about
Okay,
things so you can come to some agreement, even if you have opposite
The
personalities.
biggest problem,
like
the biggest
us.
problem with communication is what I'm thinking and what I'm saying goes, and I'm right, and your point is secondary. All right. So the point here is that you need to be able to meet halfway, because I forgot what I'm going to say now because you're messing with me. What kind of a communication is that?
Okay, so anywho,
What?
it is such an important part of our lives.
Which is?
Whether you communicate appropriately with your spouse, appropriately with your coworkers, with your parents. There are all different kinds of ways to do it, and you have to figure out what is really the best way for me to package this information so I can get a win-win response from the person that I am talking
Okay.
to.
What a communication between two people is really a transaction. What you want to get is something common to both of you that benefits both of you. All right. That's why you may have to listen to each other, But if there's any differences of opinion, you need to raise them honestly, or else it's going to be a fight, or a conflict, or an argument. And that's usually what happens between me and Wilma. Boy, out of 47 years,
We are.
oh, we had a lot of discussion, a lot of differences of opinion, and a lot of differences in the way we conclude things. But then you're going to have to meet halfway somewhere down the line, because if not,
Now, this is not an easy formula, I have to tell you. This is like climbing Mount Everest. So it is very, very important that we impart to you this information. So an example, we're retired, so we want to travel. And in our traveling to foreign countries, obviously, we need to work together as a team so we can enjoy our vacation and not freak out every time there's a certain, obstacle, whether it's language or not knowing. Communicate to one another on how to resolve problems as a team is so crucial without losing your temper.
we're a
Now,
perfect example, because if something comes up, I'll automatically go one way and she'll automatically go the other way. Now, that is difference of opinion already. But what we're trying to say here is that
Opinion.
you're going to have to work through that, because one may think she's right, one may think he's always right, and having those two conflicting things,
But honey,
it's not going to resolve
Which
itself.
one of us has the most difficulty
With what?
in communication?
What do you mean?
Well, you said one goes the other way, one goes the other way.
Well, if you go the other way, you got a problem with communication. If I go the other way, I have a problem with the communication.
One of the biggest things to get rid of is frustration. So, Roddy here tends to get very
Or
frustrated.
reacting to your spouse's or to
Very
your
quickly.
husband's ideas, because we don't come as unified beings having only one thought. That's true for any relationship. Ask them, because in this case, if she says, I want to do it this way, I said, no, I don't like it, I want to do it that way. Now, how are you going to resolve that? You're going to have to come together and say, what are you going to give up, and what am I going to give up, so
Well,
we can have something in common that we can agree with.
The other
That's
thing
a difficult
too,
thing.
One good thing about very, very important with communication is always going for the positive goals, positive outcomes, and not negative ones.
Because if you disagree with the other person, it's negative, but if they agree with you, it's positive, it doesn't work that way.
No,
right?
what I'm saying is that everything that you want to do, you cannot interact with it in a negative way. So Roddy has the strongest tendency to always look for the pitfalls in a vacation versus the positive things in a vacation.
But that's intelligible.
And that's how we go
Okay.
one way to one direction and the other in the other direction.
But in the end, I'm going to tell you one thing, how it works out. Actually, sometimes you have to give in, right? But if she gets too much, or if he gets too much, you got to put your foot down, all right? And when you put your foot down, man, that's a war. Or that's war. But
Who gets too
it
much,
doesn't,
dear?
but I give in.
Yes, but who,
Because I love you
who-
very
who-
much.
Who causes most of the negativity?
Oh, of course I do. See? She agrees with that. But if I raise the same issue, she'll say, I didn't say anything wrong. Come on.
Actually, that was a very honest statement, and that's the part that I like.
Okay, wait a
because
minute.
It makes
wait.
me laugh.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. Do you know everything? See? It's taking too long to answer. Son of a gun. I mean, if it takes too long to answer, that means
Actually, we're both the yin and the yang, the negative and the positive.
I'm yang and she's the old.
And that's why this is what you see in the dynamic of this video, how it happens. Now you wonder, if you were to mirror yourself, is this how you're going to look like with your spouse? Agreeing on some things and disagreeing on others.
Okay. Let me say it this way. Communication is very important. That evolves, right, in your relationship. And it's all based upon one thing. Do you love each other enough to make the changes?
But that
Because,
doesn't-
no, wait. Most of the relationship falls apart because why? There's two egos, and both or one doesn't wanna kind of find a happy medium, and that's
I
what's
do.
wrong. Huh? You're happy because I give in. You see?
That's it. Because, remember, I'm the positive and he's the negative. In order for the two things to work together, the negative has to give in and the positive generally wins over. Do you
Well,
think?
I'm positively negative, and you're negatively positive. Oh, there you go. That's yin and yang, right? Come on.
Okay, we want to say goodbye to you all.
Well, I'm not finished. Okay.
We're having fun, but we'll see you again. We'll
Okay.
see you with something else different. Bye.
The best thing in communication, you just say I love you. That's it.
Peace.
Peace and serenity.
Communication.